how do you teach a student to advocate for themselves? And I like this question because I believe, going all the way back to the top of what defines success in a student, or what is a skill a student needs, and I said that they need to be able to ask questions. That's my definition of advocating. I always say you don't have to have the answer, but you got to know how to ask the question. So how do you do that? The three of you, my favorite coaches, how do you do it? How do we teach them to advocate?
I'll go first. So I'm going to connect it back to that first question that you asked, Leslie. So I would empower them to put themselves out there, right? Let them know it's okay to fail. Let them know it's okay if it doesn't go their way the first, the second, or the third time, that you're always learning from the process, right? And that you're getting much closer through that learning process to achieving your goal, whatever that is. And then to your point about scaffolding, knowing that your parents are there to support you throughout the whole journey.
Right. Or it doesn't have to be a parent. It could be somebody at school. I just want to make that like, yeah. Right. That doesn't always have to be linear like that. All right, Sarah, I'm going to let you go.
Okay. For me, it starts with, when I work with students, it's supporting them in emailing teachers questions when they have a question, and going to either meet with teachers during free periods in high school, before and after school, or office hours in college. And as they do that more, their confidence builds and they have deeper conversations where they can advocate further for themselves.
I think kids have a great, but they can email. We had to go stare at someone face to face. So an email again, is that barrier to entry is a little bit easier to get initiating because it's a little bit easier. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. And you may need to, especially for students in high school, like it's okay to let them try to write it and then give them the words, because it gets easier over time. So like, don't be afraid to like give a lot of help in the beginning. And then as time goes, they get so much more comfortable with it, is what I would say though.
I agree so much. Keith, I'm going to let you have the last words on this question.
So very, very similar to what Sarah said, right? About recognizing the need and also the consequence, right? Of not asking for help. But I think building relationships, tapping into their vulnerability, understanding it's okay to not be okay, be good at something and need the help. But I also try to always tie it into the future. It's a leadership skill as they mature, right? People respect a leader who's willing to take responsibility and ask for help, right? Like we know, like you said, right? Tech is not your thing. You're going to get somebody to do tech. If you pretend that you know tech, everybody's going to see you're not good at tech, right? But I also think it's really important,
right.
But it's really important to realize their own deservedness. That they deserve what they need, and they shouldn't be afraid to ask what they're entitled to and deserve, especially neurodivergent students, right? Like they have IEPs. Teachers have a lot of kids. It's not intentional. Sometimes they just don't. They forget. Mm-hmm. And if you don't. Man, let me tell you, man, like my kid, like if you told him he didn't get his extra time, he'd be all over you, right? He knew he needed it. So, but they deserve it. And teaching them like the power of deservedness and just about vulnerability, and asking for help is not a weakness, but it's actually a very strong skill, especially if you're going to, as you grow up to be a leader. If you want to be a leader.
I love that. I also think it's a skill you need regardless of what you do after high school. It doesn't matter whether you're whether you're working or you're going to a program or you're in college. You need to be able to, and sometimes I couch it. I don't always say it's help. Sometimes, and this is if I've connected with a student and I see what's kind of going on underneath, I'll say sometimes it's asking for clarification, asking for understanding. And those words are a little bit less emotional maybe than the word help, right? Like sometimes I find, and maybe we'll chat about this for a minute, because we didn't do the question, and maybe this is how we should end, is the benefit to student coaching. Well, we're coaches, it's a coaching company. So I like that because sometimes I will see that certain words trigger a kid. The word study triggers a kid. The word help can trigger. So finding those non-emotional words that are very like, okay, right? What do you need to do to get clarification? What do you need to do to get understanding? What do you need to do to get, sometimes takes that barrier to entry away.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. And if you want to be notified when a new Dear ADHD Family Coach episode drops, make sure to hit that subscribe button.